this was going to be a special day for me when I walked through the lobby and a young man by the name of Steve, he had his name tag on, works here, hollered to me and he said, "Hey, Professor Alney, what are you doing here today?" And I said, "I'm giving a seminar." He says, "You know, I took your seminar 2 years ago." And I asked him how he did, and he said, "You won't believe it. I went from a 2.1 or 2 to a 3.5. And I said, "Well, that's great." He says, "Well, you know what? My dad really liked it too, and he's now agreed to pay my college tuition." Well, you know, when you look around here today, you may think, gosh, all these bright people, what kind of a seminar is this? I thought that people that went to seminars, especially seminars to get better grades, would probably be below average students. And yet when you look around, there's a lot of bright people here. I think maybe I ought to tell you what a bright person is. A bright person is nothing more than an average-looking person who seems to do the right things, seems to have the right study skills, seems to take tests right, seems to do problems maybe a little quicker, maybe a little easier. But you know what? We can all do that. We're probably using only 2 or 3 or 4% of our brain. Can you imagine if we leave here today with between 100 and 150 study techniques and you only apply maybe 25 or 30 or 35 of them? Can you imagine what you're going to do? Why is it going to be so much easier for you to leave here today and get better grades? You know what the answer is? Because there's so little competition. There are so few people using study techniques and skills. Look at this article that just appeared in our local paper. It says 17-year-olds are dismal in math. Only 6% of the 15,000 high school students that they checked could solve 2- and 3-step algebra and geometry problems. And 1/4 of them said that they didn't understand what was going on in their math classes. So getting better grades is going to be relatively easy if we start using the right tools. And that's the problem with a lot of students. They pick the wrong tool. What would you think if a person went into their toolbox and instead of picking out a sharp axe, they pulled out a sledgehammer to take a tree down? Now, you know, that's an easy thing to figure out. A sharp axe will get the job done in a relatively short period of time with relatively little effort, at least compared to using a sledgehammer. And yet there's so many students today that use a sledgehammer approach to get good grades. But you know what? You do not get credit for time spent studying, and you do not get credit for hard work. Have any of you ever taken a test and gotten it back, and at the top of the test, you get a grade for correct answers, and then you get another grade for the amount of time you spent, and then you get a third grade for the amount of effort you put in? I venture to say that none of us, in my 20 years of teaching, I have never given a test like that. All I do is give credit to students for right answers. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to learn how to put the right answers down on tests. And I'm not going to tell you to study hard, because that is not the answer to getting better grades.